Just 3 minutes ago, something rarely seen in Washington occurred. The House of Representatives, typically a stage for political theater, evasive answers, and scripted bickering, witnessed the most effective cross-examination in modern history. When FBI Director Kash Patel sat in that chair, he expected to face just another politician. But there was one thing he forgot. Ted Lieu is not just a politician. He is a former JAG officer, Judge Advocate General, who served in the U.S. Air Force. Throughout his career, Lieu has questioned war criminals, spies, and traitors. He can intuitively sense when someone is being dishonest without the need for words. He identifies guilt through pupil dilation, changes in breathing, and the pattern of evasive responses. The fundamental lesson learned in military courts is this: individuals exhibit distinct behaviors when they are lying. Today, Kash Patel exhibited every one of those deceptive patterns that Ted Lieu is intimately familiar with. What transpired today was more than just a standard committee hearing. It was the account of a military prosecutor methodically ensnaring an FBI director by utilizing his own words, his own documents, and his own silence. Here is the explicit, thorough examination of that momentous interrogation. Part 1. The Safe Space Trap. Ted Lieu didn't start the interrogation with Epstein. That would be a rookie mistake. A military prosecutor relaxes his prey first. He gets them to lower their defenses. Lieu's first question seemed incredibly technical and harmless. Director, how does a standard investigation file work at the FBI? Who reviews it? Who approves it? How does the process work? Patel relaxed. His shoulders dropped. This was a bureaucratic answer he knew by heart. Each file is first compiled by field agents, Patel said with confidence. Then it goes to unit chiefs, and from there directly to the directorate. Important files come directly to my desk. The trap snapped shut. Lieu nodded. He had gotten the sentence he wanted. Important files come to my desk. Immediately after, the second move came. So, is the Epstein file important? Patel said. Of course it's important. Lieu's strike was swift. Then did the file come to your desk? Patel was uncertain. He recognized the predicament, but it was already too late. His own words had trapped him. If he claimed it didn't, he would imply he found the Epstein file trivial. If he asserted it did, he would bear the weight of its contents. He began to fidget. I wasn't able to review the complete file myself. Lieu's tone became as cold as ice. Military order took over. You are not providing an answer, Director. Has the file been delivered to you? Yes or no? I require 2 words. Patel's response sent chills through everyone present. Summaries of the files were received. Summaries. The FBI director read summaries of the largest child abuse and human trafficking network in history. Not the full file, just a summary. This was the moment Patel's quality over quantity defense collapsed. Part 2. The 47 NAMES bombshell. The second stage of the interrogation was even more brutal. Lieu was holding a piece of paper. This wasn't a random note. Director, do you remember the date January 15, 2025? He asked. Patel narrowed his eyes. I don't remember exact dates. Lieu reminded him. Clearly. Is it true that in the internal assessment conducted on January 15th, it was determined that there were 47 individuals in the high-profile names category within the files? The room roared. 47 names. This was a figure heard for the first time. Journalists started taking notes. Cameras zoomed in. Patel's face paled. That is a classified internal report. How? It doesn't matter how I know, Director. Congress has oversight authority. What matters is that this report exists, and it completely contradicts your statement that we found nothing. Lieu looked at the paper in his hand. 47 high-profile names, 12 politicians, 8 business leaders, 6 media figures. The rest are a mix of academics, lawyers, lobbyists. These figures are from the FBI's own internal report. And you are telling the public there is nothing wrong. How does this happen? Patel went on the defensive. That report was a draft, not finalized. Lieu's response was another nail in Patel's coffin. Draft. There are 47 names in the draft report. So how many names are in the final report, Director? Fewer. More. Silence. Patel couldn't answer. It would not be appropriate for me to share this information, he said. Pay attention. He didn't say, I don't know. He didn't say none. He said it would not be appropriate. In the language of military interrogation, this means there is a number, and that number is either too large or too dangerous to be shared. Part 3. The Battle of Priorities, 10 versus 7,000. After piercing Patel's armor of credibility, Lieu attacked his armor of competence. How many agents were deployed to examine these files? Patel again took refuge in technical answers. A special team was formed. Lieu insisted. Give me a number, Director. Patel mumbled. Guess around 10-11 maybe. Lieu lifted his eyebrows. This was the moment when the entire American public scrutinized the FBI's priorities. 10 individuals. Director, are you aware of how many FBI agents were deployed for the 9/11 investigation? More than 7,000. Over 900 dedicated their efforts to the Oklahoma City bombing. Numerous agents spent years on the Unabomber case. And you're telling me that the largest child sex trafficking ring in history was investigated with just 10 individuals. This comparison was harsh. 7,000 agents for terrorism, 10 agents for child predators. The priorities were evident. For this administration, protecting children was viewed as less critical than political complications. Part 4. Dead Men Tell No Tales, the impossible suicide. The most chilling moment of the interrogation came regarding Epstein's death. Patel wasn't expecting this topic to be opened. Lieu asked, the FBI closed Epstein's death as a suicide. Is that right, Patel? The official finding is in this direction. Lieu placed the report by former New York Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Michael Baden on the table. Dr. Baden stated that neck fractures were more consistent with the pathology of homicide than suicide. Multiple fractures of the hyoid bone and thyroid cartilage. These are seen in strangulation victims, but rarely in hanging suicides. Did the FBI evaluate this? Patel, it was evaluated, and our official finding did not change. Lieu lifted his eyebrows. This was the moment when the entire American public scrutinized the FBI's priorities. 10 individuals. Director, are you aware of how many FBI agents were deployed for the 9/11 investigation? More than 7,000. Over 900 dedicated their efforts to the Oklahoma City bombing. Numerous agents spent years on the Unabomber case. And you're telling me that the largest child sex trafficking ring in history was investigated with just 10 individuals. This comparison was harsh. 7,000 agents for terrorism, 10 agents for child predators. The priorities were evident. For this administration, protecting children was viewed as less critical than political complications. Because any answer he gave would be an admission of either FBI incompetence or complicity. Part 5. The Final Verdict. And the end of the interrogation. Ted Lieu asked that question which ended this entire theater. Director Patel, I want a yes or no. Will all of the Epstein files at the Department of Justice, every document, every photo, every video, every recording, one day be released to the public? The room fell silent. Patel thought. He looked for an escape route, but Lieu had blocked the way. Yes or no? Patel gave perhaps the first honest answer of his life. No, some materials will never be shared with the public. That was the truth. Never, Lieu nodded. Why? Who is being protected? Which names are so powerful that the public will never know them? Which power centers are ensuring this information remains secret? There was no answer. Patel just looked ahead. Lieu stood up and delivered that historic closing statement. I was a military prosecutor. I prosecuted war criminals. I looked into the faces of those who betrayed their country. And let me tell you this, Director. The deception I have seen in this hall today is no different from that of the criminals I saw in those cases. The same techniques, the same silence, the same escape. History will judge you, Director, and the victims, those more than 250 children. They will judge too. Even if not today, even if not tomorrow, that day will come. Conclusion: the PATEL protocol has collapsed. By the time Ted Lieu's interrogation was over, Kash Patel's credibility was shattered. One, he said, important files come to my desk, but he hadn't read the Epstein file. Two, he said, we found nothing, but a report with 47 names emerged. Three, he said, we conducted a quality investigation, but he had only assigned 10 agents. Four, he said, we are transparent, but admitted the files would never be released. Lieu lifted his eyebrows. This was the moment when the entire American public scrutinized the FBI's priorities. 10 individuals. Director, are you aware of how many FBI agents were deployed for the 9/11 investigation? More than 7,000. Over 900 dedicated their efforts to the Oklahoma City bombing. Numerous agents spent years on the Unabomber case. And you're telling me that the largest child sex trafficking ring in history was investigated with just 10 individuals? This comparison was harsh. 7,000 agents for terrorism, 10 agents for child predators. The priorities were evident. For this administration, protecting children was viewed as less critical than political complications.